Hello, you goofy goobers. It is once again time to talk about music, specifically this new Charli XCX album. It's called BRAT album. This BRAT album has been met with universally positive reviews from critics and album of the year users alike. I am on album of the year a lot now. Unfortunately, I actually do like the website. I don't know why I said unfortunately. It's pretty good. But the only opinion that matters, obviously, the only opinion on the internet that matters, the absolute tastemaker, is Anthony Fartface himself. That is Anthony Fantano, in other words, and he gave Brat a 10 out of 10. And I'm just here to wonder, to question, is this a perfect album? As a 10 out of 10 would suggest, is the album flawless? Is it a perfect? Is it a masterpiece? Is Brat, the new Charli XC album, a masterpiece? And my answer to that question is actually yes. And no, but mostly yes. Let's talk about it. The album has 15 songs, and you look at that and you're like, oh dang, we're looking at an hour plus runtime, and then it's like, no, a lot of the songs are kind of short. It's only like 40-ish minutes long, like 45 minutes, I think, which is pretty nice. That's refreshing, first of all. You got 15 tracks, and we're going to get through them nice and quick. I don't think any of the songs really overstay their welcome. There's not a single song in the album that is too long, which is a positive thing to say, and it's almost all bangers. The only two tracks on the album that I feel like don't really justify their presence or kind of are just kind of weird in the track list are Von Dutch and Apple. Von Dutch is just a little bit too abrasive for me. I know that's the point, and the lyrics are very hedonistic and just very like me centered. And I think it's trying to be ironic, but I don't know if it necessarily achieves that in the best way possible. And then Apple is just kind of a head scratcher. Like the song it's definitely not a bad song. It's just one that's like, what are we doing here? Why is this on the track list? What does this add to the album? I personally don't see it adding much. Minus that, this track list is stacked. The album is off to a really fun start that doesn't really get darker or more serious until track 3 or 4. 360, it's just a really ear-pleasing, just an ear candy of a song. It's very fun, it's very enjoyable. And then Club Classics, you can say the same thing. It's a little more of a banger, goes a little bit harder. Also, probably worth mentioning 365, which is kind of a mirror track of 360. I couldn't tell you which of these two songs is better because 365 is just a more kind of aggressive and like more upbeat and energetic version of 360, but they both sound really great. Sympathy is a Knife is the first song on the album that kind of introduces some darker themes. Talks a little bit about suicide and almost in kind of a fun or playful way because the music is just, I mean, the hook is awesome. Like the hook is just adrenaline pumping, like even with the darker tones in the verses, it's a really great track that just works for me. And then I really like the longer titled tracks, starting with track 4, which is I Might Say Something Stupid. The other one that's kind of the sister song to it is I Think About It All the Time. They're both really great songs that go in a very serious direction with gorgeous vocals, amazing, auto-tune kind of chippy vocals that just work so well. So well. They're just great tracks. I love both of these songs a lot. Songs like Talk Talk and Back to Back or B2B and Rewind just have so much fun, playful energy. I really like the lyrical content of Rewind, which is just very like self-analytical and just kind of examining like what is Charli's place in the music world. Something that I think is interesting because it's not an artist that I care about. Like I don't care about Charli XCX. I've never been into any of her albums until this one, but even then I appreciate like the kind of the meta commentary and the meta narrative of this track, and just sounds really great too. Really fun music. Highlights that don't really fit within the box of the songs that I have talked about so far are Everything Is Romantic and So I, big standouts on the album for just how different they are. So I, which is a tribute to Sophie, a transgender, I believe, like electronic artist that I was not really aware of. I didn't know that they or she had such a big like fan base or whatever, but everybody now is And this feels kind of fake, but everybody's coming out like, oh man, oh, oh, Sophie, the most beautiful artist. I love them so much. And it's like, dude, nobody was talking about soap. She made one album that was like pretty big, like Pearl of Oil's Insides, and I think it was just big because of Fantano, like giving it the spotlight. He clearly likes Sophie a lot, but a lot of this feels kind of manufactured. Doesn't stop the song from actually being genuine and being very sad, and a very, just the biggest emotional gut punch on the album, and it works really well. And then Everything Is Romantic is just kind of pretty experimental. It's definitely like the weirdest song on the album, but in like a really good way, because it just stands out in my mind. And when I first listened to the album, I was like, that's the best song. I don't think that anymore, but it's a very memorable track. Girls So Confusing and Mean Girls are also fun tracks, but they're also kind of fitting into I think they're better than Apple and Von Dutch, but they kind of fall into this weird middle ground of like being good songs but not being highlights on the album, specifically because there's a version of Girl So Confusing with Lorde that I think is way better, and it really makes sense lyrically speaking to have the context of Lorde, because it's another meta commentary track, and I think the meta commentary works amazing with Lorde on the song, because after hearing the version with Lorde, it's like the whole song is kind of about Lorde. At least that's my only way to read the song after hearing it with Lorde, with her contributing the second verse. It just makes more sense to have her on the song. So that version should have been included on the album. Maybe it's on the deluxe version, I don't even know. But that's just a better version of the track. And then Mean Girls it's good. Like, it's fun. Cool piano passages, I guess. And before I hand out a score, I'll say the lyrical content of the album is surprisingly good. A lot of it is just kind of dumb fun, but the album can be very vulnerable and very serious. Like on the song So I, and those longer titled tracks, like I Might Say Something Stupid, I think about it all the time. The fun tracks really work with their lyrical content. I like the meta commentary. I like the lyrics. I like the lyrical content. Vocals are also pristine. It's a really amazing album. Like I said, basically all killer, very, very little filler. I know I say that I've noticed I've said that a lot recently, but that's especially true of this album. And yeah, using Fantano scale, it's definitely a light 9 for me. Stay tuned, because this will absolutely be featured on my best albums of 2024 video. Like, I think it's going to be pretty high, because I think this has more re-listenable, like more re-listen appeal. I don't know what the term for that is, out of like all the other albums that will be featured, because it's just so fun. It's just so easy to listen to this album. Even like the slower songs, like those are almost even more palatable than like the more fast and upbeat songs, because that's more my like sensibility, is kind of like slower music. I'm not a huge pop music guy, but this is a genuinely great pop album, and there's something so satisfying about like an amazing pop album, because it feels like it's pretty rare. It feels like it's pretty rare. I mean, we have great pop albums, and then we have like next level pop albums, and this is like next level. Like, really great. Really great stuff. I don't know if the Sophie stuff I said is going to come across the wrong way. It probably will. Let me know. I want all of the hate. I'm a hate sponge. I don't get nearly enough hate on this channel. I want a lot more hate. So if you have hateful things to say, please say them. And on that note, I will close the video. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.